you run into an ugly spot on a countertop, whether it's a burn or a stain or the formica has come loose where a seam was. I take a 2-foot by 1-foot ceramic tile that you would put on floor, and I use liquid nail and I glue it to the countertop, and it looks like a cutting board or like an accent thing. So instead of replacing the whole countertop.
John Fedro with mobilehomeinvesting.net. I want to make a quick intro to this video, but this isn't the video, not me in front of a whiteboard. It's me interviewing James, who's been building mobile homes in a factory for the last few decades, has only been investing in mobile homes for the past 2 years, and has over 40 mobile homes in his portfolio. We don't talk about the 40 plus homes or him building mobile homes for the past 30 years. We talk about that in a separate video. This video, the one that you're watching, is all about repairs. If you are investing in mobile homes, that's going to be a part of your budget. I want you to watch this 25-minute video to see tricks of the trade, to see shortcuts while actually doing good work. Kind of like that one that you heard when the video just opened up about putting that cutting board down. Things like that, these golden nuggets that we really try to listen for in all of these videos. I hope to pack this video with a lot of these golden nuggets. And I say me by James is been giving of himself. You can see that he really enjoys sharing what he's learned. And I've had the privilege of working with him now for quite some time and just seeing him grow and do amazing things. But we talk about that in a separate video. This one's all about repairs. Now, enough of me just talking at you. Let's actually sit down and talk with James and hear some of his best rehab tricks and secrets that he's learned over the past few years. John Fedro back with James, sitting here talking about mobile home investing. James, please tell us, I can't talk to you without having this recorded. These are excellent, seriously excellent rehab tips. Please share with us some of your top rehab tips that you've learned for mobile homes over the past couple decades.
Okay, the first one I wanted to go over was ceiling stains. Once you fix the roof leak, if you have a ceiling stain, 99% of the time that means you have a roof leak. So once you fix that leak and you want to take care of the stain, if it's not bowed down, if it's just a stain, I've learned that if you roll the paint on, it could soak in, and even with the best of the stain blocker paints, the stain could still come through. So if you spray paint over that, then that sits on top and creates a coating, and then that'll take the color away. So spray is better than rolling the paint on in some circumstances. So if you're rolling over a stain and you put 7 coats over it and the stain keeps coming back, spray it. The spray will sit there. Now mask off your wall if it's close to a wall. Don't get spray your wall, then all of a sudden you got that problem. But and cover your floor. But yeah, spray paint and then that creates a seal.
Are you using like a Zinsser type of?
Yes.
It's made for the ceilings? Okay.
Yep.
Versus a can of spray paint? Okay.
Yeah, so it's either Kills, K-I-L-Z, Kills, or Zinsser. They both have a stain blocker, and they both have a spray, and it helps. It's a big deal.
You paint everything first, then hit it with the spray paint? Or, because if you just hit it with the paint, it looks different, yeah. So I spray that area first to make sure that the stain's going to be gone. Then I paint the entire ceiling to look the same. Right. And if it's a small enough area and doesn't have very good lighting, you can just spray that one spot and it'll match good enough depending on your market. Smart. So there's that too. Smart. And then appliances. Appliances can be either dirty, rusty, maybe it's avocado and it doesn't match the white stove, so you want to paint it. They make appliance paint. It's an epoxy paint. You can spray it. Make sure you lay something down over the linoleum floor. I learned that the hard way. You think, oh, I'm just going to spray this little spot, and the mist will come down and it'll get all over the floor. Yeah. So then you got a whole other issue. Yes. And then the same thing with tub surrounds. Certain surfaces, tub surrounds, you can spray paint the epoxy paint, the white. It's very smelly. So you got to have really good ventilation if you're in a bathroom, if you're going to spray paint your tub surround. Some tub surrounds you can roll paint. You just use a semi-gloss or a high gloss. You can roll it on. Don't put heavy coats on it. It'll run. But maybe a couple small coats, thin coats. You can
You can paint right over an ugly, stained up tub surround and make it look brand new. Shiny plastic is what it looks like. It's sharp.
And it's made specifically for the tub surrounds.
No, I've used semi-gloss right off the shelf for semi-gloss.
Okay.
You know, it's, I mean, because it's water resistant. You know, it's better than satin. It's washable, and it's held up pretty good. I haven't gotten any calls back.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask, if it
Mhm.
started to chip yet. Now, that's not for the tub itself. Are you using a different product there if there's...
They do have a product just for tubs. I haven't had to do that. I've ended up just replacing the tub, but they do have a product for that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Great tip.
yeah. And then trimming over holes, whether the hole is in the wall or a door. I've taken a like a flat piece of trim you can get for like $6 at Menards, Home Depot, whatever. And say the hole is 3 or 4 inches wide. You can take that piece of trim, or even like a base trim, like a 3-inch piece of base trim, and you can go right over the hole, like say the whole length of the door, top to bottom. Put a piece of trim there. It looks like a racing stripe. Call it decorative. Call it what you want. You didn't have to replace a $40 or $80 door. And yeah, you just trim over it, over the hole in the door. Whether you put the piece sideways, whether you put it top to bottom, however it looks right, depending on the side of the door. And then the same thing with holes in the walls. You can, if it's a very small hole, you can cover that with a batten. As the hole gets bigger, you cover it with a bigger piece of trim, all the way up to a door jamb size. If it's a 6-inch wide door jamb piece that you can buy for $10, you know, say you don't know how to do a drywall repair. Say you don't want to tear the whole panel off and go buy a $19 panel and go through all the stuff you have to go through with, you know, taking the fasteners out and replacing the battens and all that stuff. Just put a piece of door jamb up, covers the hole. Looks decorative, and you know, it's a lot faster. I'm going on my list here. Oh, I shut all the blinds while I'm showing the house. I put all new blinds in if it needs it, but I shut all the blinds while I'm showing the house, because a lot of times the neighbor's yard looks like crap.
Great.
And I want them to feel like they're in their home. They're in their safe home. And so that's something I do, is I always make sure there's blinds of some type, and I make sure they're shut and all the lights are on when I'm showing the house.
Wow.
If I do a ceiling repair, and instead of replacing, like say the whole panel, say I only replace 3 feet by 3 feet, I'll put really nice white trim around it, you know, not over and above what would be in the house, but I'll just, you know, it might look like an access panel to an attic or something. It just doesn't look bad, you know, but I just trim around it, and that saves me from having to replace, you know, an 8 foot by 4 foot, you know, bunch of insulation and stuff like that. And they look pretty nice. So
That's a really good fix. That's really smart. Yes. And then, you know, people are asking, well, why not get the $40 door? Why not get the $80 door? And it's like, because you can do this in 10 minutes. You can you can get it done, put that strip over it, cover things up, and move on to the next project. And you're selling these on payments. If you were selling a brand new mobile home for cash or bank financing, that wouldn't fly. But anyway, that's a great tip. All those.
And then this is a big one. It's a lot of work, what I'm about to say, but it's a way to turn a 2-bedroom into a 3-bedroom. And I've seen this done in a house. The living room was enormous. And so and the walls that are inside of a single wide are not structural. They're not holding anything up. The house was made to be held up by the exterior 4 walls. So you can take a living room on one end and say push it towards the kitchen a little bit. It takes away from your dining room, but everybody eats on the couch anyway. So and then you can take and push a wall, and then you can put a wall in the middle of your living room, put a door on it, maybe add a closet or maybe don't. But now all of a sudden you've turned part of your living room into a 3rd bedroom, and you push the one wall maybe a little closer to the kitchen. Now you got a 3-1, you know, instead of a 2-1. It's a small bedroom, but it's a bedroom. And we've done that. We've went into houses where someone did that, and I took the wall out because they did a really crappy job, and turned it back into a 2-bedroom with a huge living room. But
what's the smallest bedroom size that you think that you'd consider putting in?
Well, I've sold 1-bedroom houses.
Oh,
you mean the size of the bedroom itself?
If you were going to make a 3rd bedroom, but I do want to come back and ask that 1-bedroom question.
6 by 9.
Okay, that's
6 by 9.
Okay.
It's
If
a
you have the
kid's
choice.
bedroom.
Yeah, that's a good, okay. With a 1-bedroom home, how did that come about? That was on your plate. I know we're going off topic a little bit, but.
Yeah, in the park that I buy a lot of houses in, they
Oh,
had a
okay.
couple 1-bedroom homes, and they sold right away. Right away.
Oh.
Oh yeah, in my market. Yeah.
You just have to know your numbers. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
okay. And again, these are nice homes, even for the
Mm-hmm.
age.
Oh yeah.
You're making them
Yeah, I
very
fix them up.
nice, rent ready, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
or better.
And then another tip would be underlayment over uneven spots in the floor. If you have to replace a soft spot in the floor with 3/4 inch floor decking, and it didn't lay down right, maybe there was some glue under it, maybe you went with too thick of a board, maybe any kind of reason why it's not completely level. If I'm putting carpet and pad over it, I might not care as much, as long as it's a solid floor. Even though it's got that little uneven spot, you can explain that kind of stuff away. But if it's linoleum or vinyl plank I'm putting over it, I'll put a 5mm underlayment over the uneven spot, over the entire room, before I lay linoleum, because then you won't get those wear marks in your linoleum. If you have a high spot that you don't cover with underlayment, after a year of walking over it, or even a couple of
Or
weeks, you
less,
can
yeah.
get a wear spot, and then the linoleum tears, and then you got much bigger problems. So I spend the money and I put the underlayment down.
I was going to ask you that. Well, for one room, I mean, for the folks listening, what is the cost difference between layment, underlayment, no underlayment?
It's $15 per sheet. So, if it's a kitchen, it might be 4 sheets, might cost you $60.
Yeah.
But
Well worth it.
it'll, if you walk in that house in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and it's still a good floor.
Yeah. And
Where if you don't, it won't.
You're right. It's something you're walking on every day. I mean, it's, yeah. So, I agree.
Yeah. And then another. When you're putting a panel up, make sure you notice where your wires and your plumbing are. You don't want to run a long fastener through a wire, or plumbing. You run a long screw in, and you're like, oh man, the stink pipe was back there, or the plumbing pipe. Now you've got bigger issues. And so if you're putting a panel up and you're a newbie, make sure you're watching out for where that wire is, where that plumbing is.
Did that happen to you?
I've seen it happen to people.
Okay.
In the plant. That was in the plant. Somebody would be putting a piece of OSB on the outside, and they use a Q25 staple. It's like 3 inches, and they're just, and then all of a sudden the guy goes to check the electricity before they ship it out, and some idiot ran 5 staples into a wire.
And they have to diagnose where that is, or is that?
There's machinery that they have in the plant that'll tell you where it is.
Oh, okay.
I mean, not machinery, but gadgets.
Okay. Wow.
I'm not an electrician.
Yeah.
Electrician's going to see this and be like, machinery. Whatever. With vinyl plank flooring, depending on what brand or style or size or thickness you use, you can overlay instead of having to tear all the flooring out. Like I say, if it's linoleum and it's all patchy looking, and you're like, if I put linoleum over it, that'll eventually depress into those areas, and you'll see it and it'll look like crap. But if you take vinyl plank, you can go right over that, as long as it's a pretty level floor. And so I've done that to save time, which saves money, because time's worth more than money. And so I'll just do underlayment just so I can,
That's a great
get
tip.
out of there.
Yeah.
And then it saves you having to dispose material.
Mm-hmm.
Painting over panels, like if you have a panel board house that's fairly new, they're like kind of like a drywall panel with vinyl over it, like a paper over it, and then a batten. We just did one. We just did a flip like this. Now I'm going to post a video on your site, on the Facebook page with this. Don't put a bunch of paint on it. Put very, very thin coats of paint when you're painting over like a vinyl over gyp. If you put a lot of paint, you'll load it up with moisture, and it could disadhere from the gypsum, and then you'll have what looks like bubbles everywhere. So if you just do real thin coats and put a fan on it so it dries real fast, you'll have less of a chance of it disadhering, and you can put 2 real thin coats on it. You get great coverage, and it covers real nice without the problems.
That's a really great tip. When did they start implementing that in more homes? That's more of a newer
all the
product?
new homes. All the new homes. You know, the late 90s, 2010s.
Late 90s, even that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Okay.
Yeah.
So and people could tell that they have that by looking at the wall. And usually if it has some sort of material or fabric on it, or that the wallpaper that we're
like a
talking
vinyl.
about.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It looks like wallpaper, you know.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, like a wallpapered panel, you know. Because what we had is we did a house, and the person had lived there for a year. This was a 2019 house. Person lived there for a year. It was a renter, and I went in and helped a park manager out. And this is going to be a big deal for me in the future. I did this first house for them, and this was like a test house. And I know I'm going to get a bunch of houses in this park because I helped her out. I flipped her house in 2 days. I put my guys in there, and the person had left all their stuff in there, all their home stuff, bed, aquarium, table, couch, chairs, everything. We put a roll-off dumpster in there. I had my guys go in there, clean the whole house out, including carpet that had dog feces all over the place. And then the next day came in, painted over the stains. You paint over the stains because of that, you know, the dog pee on the floor. So you take the carpet and pad up, and then put a Kills, a high pigment paint over it. It seals it in. There's no soft spot there. You know, check it for soft spot. Make sure it's not soft. Seal that in. It doesn't smell anymore. Then go over it with the new pad, the new carpet. It smells like a new house. It stunk bad when we went in there. And the manager came in at the end of the day. The next day, we had all the new carpet, pad put down. I mudded over the holes in the walls where the dog had ate some of the walls. We just mudded over them, sanded them down smooth, and then painted the panels that were, you know, damaged. These were brand new panels. We painted them, but we painted like the whole wall, you know, so it looked like an accent wall. We went with a nice modern gray color. She came in and she was just like, I love it. And so now we get every house in there. But, you know, and it was a 2-day flip. She was able to put renters in there the next day. I lost you somehow. We lost audio. I'm blaming this on you.
Oh, can you hear me now? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. So my apology. Okay, that was my fault. You should blame it on me. I muted myself. So the tip there was the killing the floor, and that really did. That really took out 90 or more of the smell. I mean, just
all of it.
90,
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
of
You
this,
just
wow.
just paint the floor.
Fantastic.
And I haven't always used kills. I'm gonna admit I've used just paint that I had. You know, like say you got some garbage paint that a bunch of stuff got in, just roll it on there. No one cares.
And that
It still seals it in.
Well, now that is something that I will start doing then, because yeah, if I can pick up some free paint, which I know I can at my
Yeah.
I'll just use that. Okay. Oh, good.
You want to pick up free paint? Go to the park. Remember I said that the shed. Oh, we haven't.
You didn't get to that, right? No, but keep it a secret. People don't need to know. That'll be just for you. No.
Right. Yeah.
No, that was a great tip. Yeah, please tell that one.
Let me get into that. So
yeah.
in a lot of parks, if they've been there for a while, they've got a maintenance shed, and including dealerships, mobile home dealerships have a maintenance shed. If the dealership is worth anything, they have maintenance. They have warranty stuff. And so that they've got panels, whether it be wood or vinyl panels. They've got trim. They've got door jambs. They've got doors. They've got exterior doors. They got paint. And they'll give it to you because it's in their way. It's collecting dust. It's been discontinued because it's been in there from the 90s and the 80s.
And the 80s, and then what?
Oh, I got a phone call. Sorry.
I know.
but no, yeah, from the 80s and stuff. And so that's the stuff that you're buying anyway. And so that all this trim is going to look great, and you can usually get it for free because they have it way too much. It's in their way. That they don't know what to do with it. It's just been sitting there. They hope to use it someday. They're not going to. I know these people. They're not going to.
That's such a good tip. All of these,
Yeah.
But to get that's okay. Yeah,
that's free. And it's usually free because they just want to get rid of it, but they got paint, they got all kinds of stuff in there because the factory has to send this stuff. They got skirting, they got shingles, just anything you could think of. If they've been there a while, they've got a shed, big old maintenance shed somewhere in the back, and yeah, they're going to have it.
And while the folks that are listening to this video, while they're calling those dealerships or those parks, there's probably other things to talk about. Introduce yourself, find out what's going on, what's for sale.
Mm-hmm.
One thing leads to another. Anyway, there's
Mm-hmm.
the list goes on, but that's a really good tip.
Oh, so you run into an ugly spot on a countertop, whether it's a burn or a stain or the formica has come loose where a seam was. I take a 2-foot by 1-foot ceramic tile that you would put on floor, and I use liquid nail and I glue it to the countertop, and it looks like a cutting board or like an accent thing. So instead of replacing the whole countertop, I will hot glue, or I'll put ceramic tile there and I'll glue it, and they think it's a decorative, like a cutting board thing.
My gosh.
It sits up, you know, a little high, you know, but it looks great as long as you go with a similar color.
What a great idea. For the folks listening, this is the kind of stuff when you're walking around with a handyman, this is the kind of stuff, if you're vetting that handyman, they should ideally have 2 or 3 ideas. Well, we could replace everything, or we could do this, or something I've tried is just do this. That is excellent. I love that cutting board idea. Actually,
yeah, and then
I love that cutting board. Yeah.
so then self edge. You know how when the trim that's on the side of a countertop, that's called self edge. The you know, it matches the top. It's usually always chipped up, like on a corner or the middle or whatever. I just peel it off, and then and then I'll put something in, some kind of epoxy in there to make it look solid. And then they make countertop paint, and then I just paint over it with countertop paint, because you get it close color to where the countertop is, so it looks like an accent, and then you don't have to replace the whole dang countertop. So, and I've done that in a couple houses.
How'd you discover that? Just trial and error, or thinking outside the box?
I took it off because they sell a self edge that you can put on there, but I don't like it. I don't like dealing with it. You know, heating it up and the way you got to apply it. And so I was like, well, what if I just fill all this in with spackle and putty and caulk? And I just was putting everything in there until it was nice and smooth. And then I just painted over it with one of those little cigar rollers, those little 4-inch rollers with countertop paint. They have actual countertop paint. It's like an epoxy, and it hardens like a plastic. And I just painted over it with that, and it looked great. It looked really great. And then, you know, used appliances. I never buy new. I always find that, you know, some downtown business will have appliance place, like a mom and pop type of appliance place. They'll sell used stuff out the back door all day, you know. And then there's the marketplace used appliances. And then, and then if you replace drywall panels or just any panels on the wall, if you replace it with just regular drywall, and you're like, man, I don't want to mud these seams, take like a thick, like maybe a 1-inch thick by 2-inch wide piece of trim and put it over it. It's a real nice accent. It's just a thick, big batten, but it's a nice accent. So instead of finishing the seam, it looks really cool just to have these big, thick, you know, things. It looks decorative, and it's better than finishing your seams if you use drywall, because then you just paint it.
And then there's just, if it was just for this one part, there's just 2 random patterns on the side, but that looks.
Well, say it's a whole wall. Say it was 3 or 4 panels. Okay. You know, so you know, like say you had a bunch of water damage on that wall, you just put plain drywall, because plain drywall is cheap. You know, you can go with 3/8. It's only $9 a sheet. You put a panel up there, that you could be $15, $20. You know, so if you put just drywall up there, put these thick wood batten, thick wood trim, whatever, over it, and then you can either you can paint the panels first and then put your trim up for a decorative look, or you can just paint the whole thing the same color.
I hope that this video was helpful. I hope that you picked up a lot of good repair tips. You have a sort of a sheet full of notes. For the 4 people still watching this video, thank you so much. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to comment below. A special thank you to James for coming on the video today. And we have a couple other videos coming out in the near future with James. Thank you so much for watching. If you need to reach me, you always can for questions or concerns, or to say hello. Support@mobilehomeinvesting.net. That's support@mobilehomeinvesting.net. And any questions or any other mobile home knowledge, you can go to mobilehomeinvesting.net. If you don't see something there, again, feel free to ask me. Support@mobilehomeinvesting.net. I'm John. I'll talk to you soon.